Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mills from MTG back again with some Budget Modern, and today we're talking about Abzan Persist, which is going to be a really funny deck because, like, on turn 3 or after, you could just combo out at any point in the game. So, we're going to dive right in. There are going to be some combos that you might recognize if you watched my channel before, and there's going to be some combos that are pretty new. And so, though you will immediately see that there's a Devoted Druid combo in here, or at least one. And this is not a real Devoted Druid deck. It can function as one, but Devoted Druid and the Vizier of Remedies that pairs with it just happen to both do really well with other cards. So we're going to dive right in. So the deck is called Abzan Persist. As you can see, it is 1657 on Magic Online. That is awesome. 9458 in paper, and we're going to talk about some of the combos. So, first off, the Devoted Druid combo. So we have Devoted Druid that taps for a green, or you can, and then you can put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid to untap it. Now it only has zero. It has 2 toughness, so you can only really do that once. But if we have Vizier of Remedies, where if one or more -1/-1 counters would be placed on a creature we control, that many -1 are put on instead. So what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to untap our Devoted Druid and get infinite mana. The mana has to be green, but it will be infinite. Now, there are a few ways that we can use that infinite mana, and one of those ways, the most apparent, is going to be Stonecoil Serpent. If you want to put Walking Ballistas in here, if you have them, it would be awesome. Stonecoil Serpent is in here just because I really like it. I really like Stonecoil Serpent. It's not as expensive as Walking Ballista. It is still a chunk of our budget, but it's a really good card. It can't get bounced by Teferi. It will kill basically any aggro creature you're going up against, and you really there's not much it can't deal with. Next up, we do have that Devoted Druid combo, but we have Duskwatch Recruiter, which is going to lead us into our other combos because of its ability, which is pay 3 mana, look at the top 3 cards of our library, we can reveal a creature from them and put it into our hand and the rest on the bottom of our library. Now, the reason why this is going to lead us into the rest of our combo is because this can just go search out what piece we need, because we might accidentally just have like a few random pieces on the board and we're like, wait, if I get a Vizier of Remedies out, I just win. Anyway, also with the infinite mana, we can use Duskwatch Recruiter infinitely to grab anything out of our deck, which is where the shortcoming of Walking Ballista can be seen, because we wouldn't necessarily have the ability to just search, go grab our Walking Ballista, play it, and kill our opponent that turn, but we have other ways of winning. So, we do have Duskwatch Recruiter in there to lead into the rest of our combos. So, we do have Vizier of Remedies, putting that -1/-1 counter away, but we also have an offense of the Kintree Spirit, which says whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, bolster 1, which says choose a creature with the least toughness among creatures you control, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Now, the way that we're trying to do this is that we're trying to use this. It doesn't work with Devoted Druid, but what it does work with are things like Safehold Elite, which has Persist. So when Persist enters, it will be like when Safehold Elite enters, even though it's a 2/2, it's going to enter with a -1/-1 counter, making it a 1/1. And if we have 2 1/1s with Anafenza, because Anafenza puts on the lowest toughness, we choose. So we would choose to put it on the creature that just entered with Persist, and the -1/-1 counter and the +1/+1 counter counteract. And so they kind of just destroy each other, which means that it will be a 2/2. So if it were to die again, then it would return. We would get Anafenza trigger, and then it would be a 2/2, and it would happen infinitely. So we also have, before I say why what that combos with especially is we also have Kitchen Finks, which says it's a 3/2 for 3 mana with Persist that when it enters the battlefield, gain 2 life. Now, the reason why Kitchen Finks is like the go-to, and Safehold Elite is something that you might already know about. But the thing about these two cards is that they both have 2 toughness. So if we persist, they're going to have 1 toughness, which Anafenza will trigger. But if we have Vizier of Remedies, those -1/-1 counters also don't come back. Which is why I said the Devoted Druid combo just works so well in this deck, because it just slides right in. So that Vizier of Remedies is there. We're going to be keeping our Persist creatures, keeping those that Persist creature. But if we have our creatures constantly coming back, what can we actually do with that? Well, for one, we can get infinite scries. We can basically cheat. We can, rather than using Duskwatch Recruiter to actually go try to grab a creature, we can actually just filter for anything we need. So if we have Vizier of Remedies or Anafenza, a Persist creature, and Viscera Seer, which says sack a creature, scry 1, if we have all 3 of those creatures out, 2 of those requirements being multiple cards we have in the deck, we have 7 Vizier or Anafenzas, we have 6 Persist creatures, and we have 8 sack outlets. And I'll actually talk about the other 4 in a second. But Viscera Seer allows us to scry infinitely. Now, what are we going to do with all those scries? Well, one of the things we could do is grab Altar of Dementia to start actually winning. So, Altar of Dementia says 2 mana, it's an artifact, sack a creature. Same thing as Viscera Seer, there is no cost to it. It's just straight up sack a creature. Target player puts a number of cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power from the top of their library into their graveyard. Now, if we have infinite sack and enter the battlefields, not enter the battlefield, but bringing back with Persist, then we are able to Alter Dementia our opponent infinitely. Well, until they actually, until they die. So, what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to just have a wink on there. And so it's possible it's already on the board, but we can also just go grab it. If we have Viscera Seer, I might recommend setting up another combo in case it gets interrupted, because we have no way to actually draw a card on that turn. So setting ourselves up for an amazing draw the next turn would be pretty sweet. Stonecoil Serpent, I already talked about that. We don't have to play it with infinite mana. It's a very powerful card. Viscera Seer, Anfenza, Devoted Druid, Duskwatch Recruiter. I think the only creature here I haven't talked about is Quillspike. Now, this is a very fun card, because this was kind of a meme before Vizier Remedies came a thing. Because if we tap our Devoted Druid for a green mana, and then untap it to put a -1/-1 counter on it, we can use that green mana to activate Quillspike's ability, remove a counter from a creature we control, being the Devoted Druid counter, setting it back to 0/2, and then Quillspike gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Then you tap your Devoted Druid, untap it, remove the counter with Quillspike, spending the green, get another +3/+3, and you go infinite. So if you swing in with this, you have the possibility of getting infinite damage just with Quillspike, and that is awesome. We do have a little bit of backup in our deck. We have Duress as a way for us to kind of interact with our opponent, trying to just stop what they do before they play it. The reason why I'm picking Duress here, Duress, you can go back and forth with whether or not you play it. A lot of people are not going to like that I'm playing Duress, but same thing with counterspells like Force of Negation. When you're picking what to play, you have to figure out what are you trying to make them discard. And for this, a lot of what we're trying to make them discard are going to be the control aspects, the removal aspects of their hand, of their deck. So we're not trying to make them discard their creatures. It might be nice, but we're not trying to make them discard their creatures, so we don't need it. So Thoughtseize, Inquisition, not really necessary. Next up is our removal. Path to Exile is a 2 of. You could go up on these if you want to. We do have the space in our budget for it, but I really wanted the one of. I know it seems weird having it as a one of, but honestly, it's worth it. Unearth says 1 mana, return a creature card with mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, and then you can cycle it for 2. So if you don't really need it, you can. It's a 2 mana cycle anyway. But what this is going to do is, let's say we have our Vizier of Remedies on the board. Let's say we have Kitchen Finks on the board. Let's just go ahead and return Viscera from our graveyard to the battlefield, and then we combo off. So it's kind of a post-mortem lunge, but can last more than 1 turn. And it hits anything in our deck, because we don't have anything above 3 mana. I really wanted to try to fit Lurrus in this deck, but then we'd have to take out Kitchen Finks and Quill Spike, and honestly, at that point, it's not worth it. Anyway, that is the deck, though. There are so many small things that could just happen. There's so many things that could just, like, align, and then you just suddenly win. It could just be some, like, you might be trying for the Vizier, Duskwatch Recruiter, Devoted Druid combo, and you could end up winning with Devoted Druid Quill Spike. It's really cool how, and kind of funny how it could just happen that you win. Anyway, but it is consistent in the way that you can get basically whatever you need. But what I'm saying is, in the process of trying to get there, you might accidentally come across a different way of winning. Anyway, then the lands of our deck are 4 branch loft pathways. I love pathways so much. It's just, they're amazing. These are going to be a total of $12, and they are our white-green lands. We do have temples. Temples, I know they enter tapped, but our only turn 1 play, really, would be Duress or Viscera, and we don't really want to have our Viscera played and then just have it killed immediately. We'd much rather have, like, our one of our legit any of our other creatures. Viscera is a very key part of our deck, so playing it on turn 1 isn't necessarily what you want to do. So having no turn 1 play beyond, like, Duress really makes it a lot easier to run Temple of Plenty. Anyway, next up, we do have 8 Pain lands. We have Llanowar Wastes, and we have Caves of Koilos, and those are there to make sure that we do eventually hit that black mana, and it gives us enough consistency where I can say I'm confident that I was able to play these Duresses on turn 1 when I needed them. There is the chance you just don't have Duress in your starting hand, but, like, you will have the mana if you need it. Then we have 2 forests, 2 plains, because those are the main colors of our deck. We really only have black for our support and our Viscera. That's all it's in here for. And if we check over at the sideboard, we actually have a lot of, like, green and colorless stuff. So before I get into the sideboard, if you like this video, if you like this deck, please let me know below. Please hit that thumbs up. I'm making this video. I'm at 99 subscribers. You could be the 100th. And if you're the 100th, go ahead and let me know. I might not actually get the notification. Go ahead and let me know. I'll dedicate a deck to you, you know? Okay. So, hopping right into the sideboard, we have Graveyard Hate through Tormod's Crypt. We have Combo Hate and Tron Hate through Damping Sphere. We have Mill Hate through Gaia's Blessing. We have Storm Hate, Burn Hate through Weather the Storm. And we have Artifact and Enchantment Hate through Wilt. And Wilt can also cycle. So those are our sideboard cards. It's very, very straightforward. The main deck is the more complicated part. The sideboard is very straightforward. You just bring out a few pieces, bring in a few pieces of whatever you need. It's very linear of what you're going to be bringing in and out every time. Anyway, it's a very fun deck. You will probably not. This is one of the decks you want to build if you don't enjoy. Like, if you don't enjoy playing the same game every single game, play this deck. Because you'll just happen to play, like, your deck, though it's 60 cards, very consistent. You'll just do so many different lines of play, and it's awesome. I'm not going to lie. I'm really happy with the list. Anyway, let me know what you think below, and I will see you next time.